You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station, brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Oglaze Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Ideology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Speed's Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Guarnieris Pizzeria.
Here at TLC, we expanded our business, so we wanted the security of knowing exactly where all the kids are and what's going on in each of the rooms. We chose Fowler's because we've done all our televisions with them, and they mentioned they have security systems. So we just wanted to go out and look at it, and they were very upfront, and they do excellent work from start to finish. And so we chose Fowler's TV. It's been great for us here at TLC Learning Center, and Fowler's TV would be great for anyone.
Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Mary's is proud to support Rough Rider athletics and the Memorial Student Athletes. Join Buffalo Wild Wings for each Rough Rider football game streamed on Rider Nation Station. Buffalo Wild Wings, the greatest of all times.
St. Mary's Eagles 767 is dedicated to promoting the general welfare of the citizens of St. Mary's by giving special attention to public improvements. They are also committed to helping meet the public needs and all that relates to the betterment, convenience, and comforts of the citizens of St. Mary's. For more information on how you can become a member, call 419-394-3257 or stop in during business hours at 404 East Spring Street in St. Mary's. St. Mary's Eagles 767. People helping people.
Oglaze Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road or oglazeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Oglaze Equipment Rental.
St. Mary's Legion Post 323, veterans working for veterans and the future of our country. The St. Mary's Legion Post 323 supports veterans programs such as Gifts for Yanks, Support the Troops, Comfort Warriors, Blood Donor, POW MIA programs, as well as children and youth programs. The St. Mary's Legion Post 323 also donates thousands of dollars each year to local summer programs such as Boys State, Girls State, Scholarships in Education, Boy Scouts, Oratorical, and Shooting Sports. St. Mary's Legion Post 323, remembering the past, living the present, and working for the future.
Albert Sporting Goods is here to outfit your team, both on and off the field. Since 1980, Albert Sporting Goods has serviced schools, clubs, and businesses throughout Ohio. For all of your uniform, spirit wear, and equipment needs, make it Albert Sporting Goods. Order online now at albertsportinggoods.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Guarnieris Pizzeria and Pub has partnered with Rider Nation Station this season so that every Friday night, Guarnieris can be Rough Rider Central. Guarnieris will be streaming Rough Rider football live every Friday night at 7, paired with your favorite Rider aid. Call Guarnieris during or after the game to place your pickup order for pizza, wings, or hoagies at 419-394-2244. Remember, Guarnieris, home of the signature Big Ralph. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition, this live edition of Rules of the Game. I'm your host, Joe Hurlbert, sitting in for Zach Farrell, who is once again away on leave. And joining me is longtime high school official Mark Cisco. And Mark, once again, thanks again for joining us.
Joe, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, when I was thinking of some of the questions that we could talk about at the top of the program, you know, one of the questions that I thought, you've been doing this a long, long time.
Long time.
But you have not always worn the white hat, the referee hat, for your entire career. Walk us through that process, and where do you start, and then what decision do you make that you want to become the actual referee?
Started a long time ago.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
And when I started, you had to work 2 years at the lower levels before you could test to work at the varsity level. Now it's 1 year. So, you can jump in, take the test, work 1 year at low levels, and now you can test to be a varsity official. I started, my first game was, believe it or not, at New Bremen, working as a wing official with a crew that had come up out of Dayton. They were missing a crew member, and the AD at Bremen said, "Hey, are you available?" "Sure, I'll come and work." That was my first game ever. And very first play, I messed up. It was a kickoff, and we had an encroachment, or in the NFL they call it offsides, and it's a dead ball. You got to blow the whistle, throw the flag, and whatever. Well, I let it go and told the referee, and he's like, "Well, we got to do it over." So I never got that wrong again.
I bet you did.
Did not. And then after that year, I worked a couple games, and then got hooked up with a crew out of Lima and started at back judge. And that was the year that they went to 5 guys as crews, and started there. And then I've worked every position on the field. And after about 10 years, then that crew lost their referee. He'd moved to the other side of the state, so I was the choice. And I've been there ever since. 30 years at the referee spot.
Really?
So.
And 40 years altogether.
40 years altogether.
Yes. That says something.
Yes.
Now let me ask you this: when you're officiating crew, you show up at a ball game, and of course they drive. Sometimes whoever's on your crew drives.
The whole crew or whatever. Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
Do you guys kind of meet and go over like some of the preliminaries and what we're going to do, or?
Absolutely. Ever since I've been the referee, and I've had some good leadership from guys that were older than I was and kind of took me under their wing, I will send out what I call the pregame agenda. Now, when we're leaving, what time we get there, our pregame conference starts X, and these are some topics that we're going to cover, and I assign topics to each of the crew. So we don't have a lot of time, but we try to get there an hour and a half before game time and go through all those things and then get dressed and then get to the field about 40 minutes prior to kickoff. So it doesn't leave us a lot of time, but that helps focus our attention and kind of push away the day's troubles, if you will, and get us where we want to be. Sure. Some crews will do that, some won't. I think it's beneficial, and it's worked for us for many years.
Any funny stories that you can tell us of some of the officials that may have run out on the field and then, forgot some equipment, or maybe they forgot some piece of equipment on the, out of their bag, dressing?
I'm going to tell a story about a crew member right now. He always packs his bag the night before,
right,
and then we'll unpack it and pack it again. I have a list. I don't unpack it and pack it again, but I have a list. But his wife got involved and dropped a piece of, shall we say, lingerie in the bag. And he starts unpacking it, and the first thing he pulls out was this piece of lingerie, and he thought he had grabbed the wrong bag. And we were at the Shawnee, and all of a sudden he's just going wild. And we're like, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, I think I got my wife's bag." Well, he got to looking and know she had just slipped that in there, and that's been the joke every time we show up. "What's in your bag, Rich?" That type of thing.
That's
so,
hilarious.
We got to have a little fun.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, we talked about your crew. Having a crew for a long period of time is beneficial, just like coaches that stay together for 15,
Yes.
20, 25 years. You get to know each other. You get to know what each person does and where they're going to be on the field. How did you choose your crew, and how long did they stay with you?
I've had a few members over the years. We had a bunch from a couple guys from Kenton for a long time, another guy from the Shawnee area, and he was one of our linesmen, and he had never played a down of football in his life. He was in the band when he was in high school, but the man knew his stuff and could officiate. I've had guys from here in town, and it just, we got thrown together when we started, and guys have come and gone and moved away or retired for various reasons, and we've always been able to find folks that fit the crew. And I'm kind of picky, and it's worked out okay. If you don't get along off the field, you're not going to do well on the field, is my theory. Now, other parts of the state, it used to be that they would assign 5 different guys, and they'd show up, and they may have not worked together. But that, in this part of the state, it's a crew-driven situation. Yes, it is.
Now, have you ever had the opportunity to move on and do referee some college ball?
I've never refereed, but I've worked the wings in college ball at the Division III and Division II level, and learned a lot of good stuff and met a lot of good guys. But the body wouldn't let me work college and high school, Friday, Saturday type thing. And plus the wife didn't like that too well either,
Right,
so
absolutely.
he had to make a choice.
Absolutely. Anything new that happened this week around the state of Ohio that came across?
There were some things going around on one of our officials' pages about a play where it talks about a kickoff, and a receiver is floating over towards the sideline because the ball's headed that way, and he steps inadvertently out of bounds, and then catches the football. Do we have a foul? Is the ball kicked out? Is it considered out of bounds? And the answer to that question is yes, it is. It would be a foul on the kicking team, because the rule says if the kicking team kicks the ball out of bounds untouched by the receiving team, then you have a foul. Well, you say, well, the receiving team touched it, yes, but he was standing out of bounds, so by rule, he's out of bounds, he's not a player. So he's kicked the ball out of bounds. So if that receiver straddling the sideline or stepping on the sideline, he's considered out of bounds. So the ball, when it first touches the receiver, he's out of bounds.
So it would be no different than a kid standing on the sideline, and then the ball comes to him and he catches it.
True.
Yeah.
True. Now, there's a difference, though, because if the receiver intentionally did that, now we have to read intent into the rule, which is one of the few rules in high school where you read intent. If he intentionally stepped on the sideline and then touched the football, now you have a foul for illegal participation on the receiving team, in which case you just go back and re-kick the football and you try it again. So, there's rule support for both of those scenarios, but you have to read intent into the play.
Right. We watched a little clip earlier prior to coming onto the air of a free kick situation. And we've talked about this before in shows past, but let's talk to our viewers again and the folks here at Guarnieris Pizzeria about the free kick rule. And it doesn't happen very often, but I can guarantee you, if you're at a stadium and it's never been done, the fans are going to want to know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, because you never see it.
You never see it.
I've been fortunate to see it a couple times. Once at the state finals, and I think you were there, and once with a local coach in the Lima Shawnee area that's tried it. Right. Wasn't successful, but normally it happens when one team is punting deep in their own territory, and maybe they punting against the wind, and the receiving team will signal for a fair catch, and he'll make the catch. So the team that's making the fair catch has the option of saying, okay, we're going to snap the football and do like a normal running pass play or whatever, or we're going to free kick the football, which means we can put it on a tee, line the defending team back 10 yards, and just kick it, and hopefully it'll go through the uprights and score a field goal. You don't often see that,
right?
But it's in the rule book.
Absolutely.
It's not in the rule book at the pro level, and I don't believe it's in the rule book at the college level. A lot of people say, well, it's never done in high school, let's not do that. Well, it happens enough, they're going to keep it in. It's kind of like the drop kick. You'd hardly ever see it, but that's still in the books too.
Yeah, and probably the reason you don't see it in college and high school because your kickers can kick them 65 yards. So,
indeed.
That's probably
one
of
your
the
kickoff
reasons.
guy can put it in the end zone from 75 yards away. So it would be not good, right? Yeah.
So, anything else that had taken place this past
that
week?
Was the main thing that stood out. I mean, we haven't seen the bulletin yet for this week on things that happened this week that our boss kind of points out to us, but that'll come out tomorrow or Friday morning. So no, nothing really.
Anything down the road that you can see that is maybe on the table, is up for discussion, that may be implemented next year or down the road?
Well, there's some discussion going on now at the college level, and it will filter down to the high school level, where timing, the games are going in 2.5, 3 hours, even at the high school level, depending on what kind of teams you have, throwing teams or whatnot. So if you can remember, now you know you can, they're talking about maybe after an incomplete pass, once the ball is set, of winding the game clock again. So at the college level, there's some discussion of that going on, which may happen, and if that happens, it could possibly come back down to the high school level as well. Now, I don't see that for a little while, but it's possible again.
And normally the game clock, after an incomplete pass, stops and is not started until the snap.
Until the ball is snapped, yeah. So you got a team, both teams are throwing 50, 60 times a game. It takes them a while to play the game.
It does.
Yes.
It does. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Mark and I are going to take a break. We're going to hear from our fine folks at sponsor Rider Nation Station. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some clips from last week's win over the Elida Bulldogs. We'll do that and more as Rules of the Game continues on Rider Nation Stations when we come back right after this.
Colder weather is just around the corner, and you want to make sure your family's vehicle is tuned up and ready to go. Rabel's Auto Service has been voted the best auto repair center in St. Mary's the last 3 years. And did you know they will pick up and deliver your vehicle for free? Give Rabel's Auto Service a call at 419-394-1624 or stop in and see Jeremy at 1610 Salina Road in St. Mary's. Rabel's Auto Service in St. Mary's. Give them a call today.
Miller Funeral Home has been serving the Rough Rider community in its time of need since the 70s. Our business is a family affair, dedicated to serving families with integrity, dignity, and compassion. Miller Funeral Home, proud to be a supporter of the Rough Rider community.
Are you looking for a new trailer or needing your current one fixed? Then head over to Midway Trailer Sales. We're conveniently located just off U.S. Highway 33 in St. Mary's and Interstate 75 in Dayton. We're your one-stop shop for new and used trailers, flatbeds, and snowplows. We also offer a wide array of parts to fit your trailer's needs. Our professional service team will get you back on the road in no time. And of course, we're Ohio's only authorized empty hopper dealer. Come visit us at www.midwaytrailers.net. When you need a haul, give Midway a call.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ellen Hunter, owner of Family Audiology Associates with offices in Salina and St. Mary's. I am a St. Mary's Memorial graduate and a proud supporter of our Auglaize and Mercer County community. Since 2004, my staff and I have tested and treated the hearing imbalance of many of our infants, children, adults, and elderly in our community, and we would be proud for you or your loved one to be one of our next patients. Call Family Audiology Associates today, your hometown hearing experts, and go Riders!
Alrighty, we welcome you back to Rules of the Game on Rider Nation Station. We're broadcasting live. We're coming your way from Guarnieris Pizzeria and Pub in downtown St. Mary's. Mark, last week the Rough Riders defeated Elida 35-3. Although it seemed to be pretty much in control, they had some penalties along the way. So right now, let's take a look at some of the clips of last week's ball game. This first clip is a pass interference. Call is was not called interference. What's your thoughts? I think what sticks out to me is the official or the receiver gets shoved. Either he gets shoved out of bounds or.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that's just incidental contact there. I mean, both kids seem to be looking for the football, and I don't have a problem with no call there. They're both looking for the football, and each player's entitled to his spot on the game, or on the field. So I have no issues with that one.
And yeah, I think you've made mention of this in the past, but there's no such thing in high school football as an uncatchable pass?
Correct. There's no such thing as that. So if you got a foul that would be considered, interference, the height or wherever it's thrown is not an issue.
Really?
Yep.
This next clip is whether it was caught or not, to catch or not to catch. That is the question. And we'll have to. Hopefully, we'll get this one again. It's kind of hard to see from that.
Kind of hard to see.
I think they called it an incomplete pass.
I think it looks like he's signaling it's down. The signal could have been a little bit better, but I think they called it incomplete. It must have just skipped just right before the recovery was made.
This next clip is a chop block on St. Mary's, and I think I know this, and I want to point something out. If we can see that clip, this is a chop block. And it's going to come on the left side of the line as we're looking at it. You see that I think it's the right guard, but he's all to me. Well, let's run it again. It looks like to me he's already on the ground, and a defensive player runs over him, and I think they call it a chop block. He's down right there. Did you see it?
Yeah, I think probably, Joe, you're right. I mean, there's some. We can get a little carried away with that sometimes, and not allow for the line play in there, especially if you got somebody else, a defender that's making contact that's helping things there, and I think that's what happened. Truthfully, yeah.
So theoretically, though, an offensive lineman can go out, he can block, he can go to the ground,
and if a defensive player runs into him and falls down, I think that's what they called, not necessarily a chop block.
Not necessarily a chop block. You got to have 2 people involved for a chop block. Okay.
Right.
Did they signal chop block or just a block below the waist? You know for sure?
Nah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, a chop block requires 2 people, and normally you've got contact that's below the waist and then another blocker pushing or blocking, making contact at the same time. And sometimes you got to be careful with that. You may have a blocker just running by a kid and just brush him and push him over. That's really not a foul. And I'm not saying that happened here, but you know, sometimes you got to see the whole block. Truthfully, yep.
Makes sense. This next one is a false start or a bad snap. I think this was just I think everybody moved except for the little trickery there.
Well, maybe not. Maybe, I mean, if the ball snapped, I mean, if it wasn't a bad snap, and we can't really tell for sure, I mean.
No, it looked to me a good snap.
Yeah.
But nobody moved.
I think it was a good snap.
That was a good snap.
And I think the officials killed it when they shouldn't have. I mean, that's a problem. That I think the center obviously missed the snap count.
And so did everybody else on the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, or either or. So it's like they should have let that one go.
Yeah.
And you know, St. Mary's, if they let it go, they could have been a tackle for a loss or something else right there. But instead, they shut it down, cost the offense 5 yards. So,
right, exactly.
And the down.
Exactly.
So
this next clip is a block in the back. I think this is the interception by Keegan Sharp. And we're gonna have to watch number 7. He's at the top of the screen right there in the linebacker spot. That's who they're going to call the chop block on. This one is not, but he'll run down the field, and he'll turn and there. I don't know if you saw that or not. And I think, in all honesty, when I talked to Coach Fry, he knew that he was going to block in the back. He pulled back and raised his hands and said, and he didn't touch him.
Same play here, right? Yep.
Yeah, same play.
Top of the upper right-hand corner. Yep.
Number 7.
It's fine there.
That's a good block.
He's coming back.
And he's going to turn around on this guy right there, and I think he pulls away and says, I'm going to block him in the back, and lets him go.
I would agree that that's probably not enough, and it's away from the ball, so it really didn't cost the defender anything right there. So yeah, I mean. Yeah,
I think Keegan Sharp is standing in the end zone when he
normally. Yeah, that's probably not enough for a flag, truthfully.
Yeah, so this next one is a question whether this is intentional grounding or not.
Okay, which brings up all kinds of rules.
Yes, it does.
Issues.
Is he in the box? Is he outside the box? Is that in effect? And he's going to roll, and he's just going to throw it out of bounds. Your thoughts?
My thought would be if that got past the neutral zone, basically the 36-yard line, then no, he's not, because he comes back. Now he's still in. Now he's moves. He takes at least 3 hard steps and toss it. So with the new rules this year, that is not intentional grounding.
Okay. Is there such a thing as the tackle box?
It's called the free blocking zone.
That's what it's called?
Yep. It's 4 yards on either side of where the ball snapped.
Okay.
And basically laterally, if he gets outside that 4 yards there, which he was,
right,
and gets it back to the original, basically the line of scrimmage, then there's no foul for intentional grounding.
Okay. This next one is a potential pass interference play. I think there was no pass interference called on this particular play. And then we got 2 views of this. The second clip will be from behind the defense. I didn't think at the time that was pass interference. I just thought it was good coverage.
Sure doesn't look like it from that angle.
No, not at all. So let's check and see
they
if
didn't
we
flag
see
it.
Nope, I don't think so. Nope.
Same view.
Yeah, I just think that's just good coverage.
That's just good coverage.
And I think the next clip is from behind the defense. Well, it's the same play, but it's from behind the defense. And you'll see number 45 here in the lower left corner of your screen. And here he comes.
No, great defense right there.
Now do both players, offense and defense, can they both go for the football?
They have equal rights.
Equal rights to the football?
Equal rights to the
Absolutely.
football. What
Absolutely.
the defender can't do is play through a guy or hinder his ability to make the catch. Okay. And that was not the case here at all.
No.
45 is playing the football and that's a great defensive play.
Yeah. This next clip, and Zach picked these all out, mind you.
Okay.
And he entitled this one "A Kick Catch."
Okay.
Now, we'll see what this is all about. I know exactly where he's headed.
Okay.
Does the defense have to give him 5 yards to make the catch?
No.
In this particular instance, they didn't. They were right on him.
There is no
such thing?
There's no halo or set yardage or anything like that in high school football.
Okay.
As long as he is able to make a catch unhindered, I mean, this is close, but you've got a number 7 there should have probably done a better job blocking,
right,
to keep that kickoff guy away from him. But no, you're fine with that. No big deal.
All right. This next one here has no penalty, but you know how offensive tackles are.
I do.
And sometimes when you get a little bit of ink, you want to feature that. So this is Xavier Leclair, number 77. He's one of the tackles. He hits 3 pancake blocks on this one play.
All right.
Let's check it out. He's on the far side. Here he comes. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3.
Nice. Nice.
That's worth a couple that's worth a couple of
You know,
extra stars.
Terry Clowner and Bob Fitzgerald used to do the same thing when they were playing for the Riders. They get out there in front and baby, because that's one thing I never got
Boom.
to do as a tackle is pull. And Kerry and Bob know all about that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a nice job.
Well, keep in mind, Leclerc's 370 pounds. He's a big boy.
Yep.
And
good for him.
Absolutely.
Got it done.
Give him some extra stars. This next one, this is a pass interference that was called by the official. We'll take a look at this clip. Well, that showed us a lot. There it is, right across the middle. Yeah, pass interference. So I think this got the ball for Elida down inside, obviously inside the red zone. They were able to kick a field goal.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, I don't see enough of it to really make a judgment one way or the other.
Yeah.
So sorry about you.
And this next clip is a sack. I'm not really sure what kind of penalties you can get on a sack.
Well, if you're in the NFL, you can get one without even trying too much. I think. No worries there.
Well, maybe he's just highlighting those.
Highlighting them in lieu of what happened on Sunday. Could be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not a problem there. And high school rules do not have such, the treatment of quarterbacks like they do in the pros. So,
right.
That's just a good play there by the defense.
And then we got this same clip from a different angle. And I guess his question was, would this be a penalty in the NFL?
Well, if you were watching Sunday, it might be. I mean, you can't tackle a kid any better than that in high school. So I'm not going to speak to the NFL. So sorry.
All right.
Spot.
Well, those are the clips that we have. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with a final word with head official Mark Cisco when we do that and more as Rules of the Game continues right after this.
Speckman Automotive with stores in St. Mary's and Wapakoneta is your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs. Family run since 1960, Speckman Automotive upholds the tradition of blending old-fashioned customer service with modern technology that the customers expect and deserve. Shop local. Shop Speckman Automotive.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Spees. Welcome to Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
As a family practice, Spees Chiropractic welcomes in patients of all ages. Whether this is your first time or you've done this before, Dr. Spees and his compassionate staff are here for you. What makes Spees Chiropractic unique is their 3-tier approach. By using chiropractic care alongside massage therapy and physical therapy, all your healthcare needs will be treated compassionately and comprehensively. Spees Chiropractic. Make the right choice for your care.
Kogi Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has brought the best in comfort control and plumbing services to the St. Mary's area for over 57 years. Kogi's takes pride in identifying heating, plumbing, and air conditioning solutions which stand out from the rest. Give Kogi's a call today. Kogi Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, a name you can trust.
If you want a winning banking relationship for all your financial needs, let Minster Bank help. We can make all your winning dreams come true. Find us at minsterbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Head to Varsity Lanes for the pregame or postgame party, dinner, beverages, and bowling with the best prices in town. Varsity Lanes also specializes in birthday parties or office and corporate parties of all sizes. Varsity Lanes is the home of 2 boys and 2 girls state championship titles. Eat, drink, and bowl where the state winners are built. Proud supporters of Rough Rider Athletics, Varsity Lanes.
VFW 9289's mission is to honor all veterans, past, present, and future. Come on out on Football Friday nights to watch the live stream of Rough Rider football. VFW 9289, a proud sponsor of Rider Nation Station.
Do you find yourself faced with injustice or confronted with a legal matter that you need help resolving? If so, call attorney David Walbacher at 216-225-9181. That's attorney David Walbacher for all your legal needs.
All righty, we welcome you back to Rules of the Game. I'm Joe Hurlbert alongside Mark Cisco, and we've asked the folks here at Guarnieris to come up if they have any questions. We do, so let's see what happens.
Hello, my name is Betty White. And the queen of dumb questions. But anyway, last time we did this in here, I asked you the question about female crews.
Yes.
Have you seen any uptick in females joining the high school ranks as far as officiating?
Actually, yes, a little bit. If you look close on some of the other, dare I say, broadcasts that are out there on Friday nights, you will see a member of the crew, a female, and there's actually a prospective official in New Bremen that's taking the courses right now to get in. There are a few, and you're starting to notice 1 or 2 more at the professional and certainly at the college level as well, in the Big Ten and the college. So, yeah, if it's happening. Now, I don't think that you're ever going to find an all-female crew at the upper levels, although there was an all-female crew that was featured in our referee magazine that worked the game someplace last year. A picture of all 5 of them. So it's possible.
I like that.
Are you you thinking about that?
It's going to be my next career.
Okay, good.
I have more questions.
Okay.
Am I allowed?
Yes.
So my next question is, you guys do a lot of running up and down the field. Do you do specific training to stay in shape for the season, or do you know how many miles you run a game? Or anything like that?
I've had crew members that'll wear the watches that count steps and all that other good stuff. For me, I don't run anymore. I mean, the knees won't take it, but I do biking and some other cardio type stuff all throughout the year. I have crewmates that, though, you'll see them run. As a matter of fact, one of them was running in the Minster Oktoberfest this last weekend. So, and I do have other crew members and other people that hardly do anything. But yeah, it can be strenuous at times, especially early on when the season is hot. If you're not ready to go, then you will feel it. The main thing for us is to stay hydrated. Water, mainly a couple days before the game, especially when it's hot, that helps keep the fluids up, and you can survive the game. And to drink during the game, just like the players.
Last question. Have you ever had the opportunity to be on the same officiating crew as John Derryberry?
Not on the crew. Him and I worked the state final in the same weekend, though. He had the game prior to mine, and but that's the only time I worked with John and on JV games, junior high, things of that nature. But John's been around a long time, and
yes, he has.
He's quite the guy.
Yes, he is. He's a great pickleball player.
There you go.
Okay, that's the end of my questions.
Okay. Uh-oh, we have more.
Here comes Bob.
Awesome. There he is.
Bob Fitzgerald, previously announced.
Yes,
Thank
there you
Mark.
go.
Appreciate it. The question I have, first one is for my friend Denny Cisco.
I'm from Denny, okay.
He initially had a question about pass, but you already answered that.
Okay.
But his next question is in regards to a receiver stepping out of bounds.
Sure.
What does it take for them to establish themselves back in bounds to catch the ball on a pass? And is it different than in a punt situation or something along that line?
Okay, that's a good question. The rules are different at the high school level versus the college level. A receiver in the high school level, if he is forced out of bounds, he must return at his first opportunity. So in other words, if he's blocked out of bounds at the sideline, he can't run down 15 yards or run behind the bench and then come back away. Now, he's got to get back as early as it can. Getting forced out is not a problem. If he would come back in before after he should have, then we've got a foul for illegal participation. Now, there are some things that, he's got to establish himself before he can catch a pass, or another player's got to touch it. That's not true. Once you're eligible, once you start the down eligible as a receiver, you're eligible throughout the down. A little distinction there. So if he runs out on his own, accidentally steps out of bounds, and then comes back, now we have a foul at the point he came back for illegal participation. So once they step out of bounds, you're just better off staying out of bounds to avoid the foul later on. It's basically the same thing on punts as well. You step out of bounds if you're a receiver before you catch the ball on a punt or a kickoff, you can come back in. Now, once you've got possession, if you step out, obviously then we've got the ball out of bounds or something like that. So you see a lot of times when receivers will line up on the sidelines and run down, and maybe the DB will push them out, which is not a problem if they come back in right away. That answer it?
Good enough. It sounds
okay,
good.
Good deal.
Now, my question, a play that I saw previously referenced Xavier was on a pass play where he was blocking somebody around the edge, and I believe he was engaged with that defensive player and fell down, and the referees called a chop block on him on that play. Now, chop block is usually something where you're with two people.
Correct.
Hitting it. Wrong call?
Wrong call. It could have been possibly a block below the waist, especially at the college level, because they have all kinds of different rules regarding that. At the high school level, they have taken the subjectivity out of it for us. For now to be a block below the waist to be legal, it's got to be in what's called the free blocking zone, and it's got to be immediately at the snap. So if you have a receiver out there and goes directly into the legs of a DB that's pressing him in coverage, that would be illegal because he's outside the free blocking zone. So yeah, college is a lot different, and they probably meant to say block below the waist rather than a chop block, because a chop block, you got to have two guys to make that happen.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
My question is the referee in the field of play, for instance, a slant pattern and the throw hits the referee, ricochets up off the umpire, is that still a live ball, or is it blown dead?
It is still a live ball. It's like, I liken it to softball, and a softball umpire gets hit behind, if he's behind all the runners, it's like the ball has hit the infield in dirt. He's not there. It's not a big deal. Can the ball, you see one time, there's a play out there where an extra point or a field goal is low and it hits the umpire on the head and goes over the crossbar. It's good. Yeah, so he's just part of the field, so to speak. And live ball continues on, yeah.
And my last question would be personal preference. Do you like having the headset to address the crowd?
I really like it. It can come in quite handy. If it works well, it can come right handy if you have to explain a situation. And that way, if you're able to use it and use it properly, it lets everybody know what's going on, including the coaches up in the box who sometimes can't hear because the press boxes are sealed or whatnot. I don't mind it at all. Yep, would take it every time.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, if there's no other questions, I got one final question. Explanation.
Okay.
I'm blocking you. I go face up with you. I'm engaged with you. You decide you're going to turn and chase the ball carrier, and I still am on you. Is that
a foul?
Is that
No.
It's not blocking the back?
It is not, because we've never broke contact. Now, if I run away from you and we get separation, and now where I'm chasing down the runner and you're chasing me down and you give it one of those, now we've got a problem. But if you stay in contact, even if I turn and your hands just go from the front to back and you keep in contact and push me wherever, it's not a problem at all. That's why you have to see the entire play to call something like that. So.
Very good. Very good.
That help?
Where are you at this week?
We're going to Findlay this week.
Findlay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Should be an awesome game.
Should be.
Should be.
That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Rules of the Game. Once again, Mark, appreciate you joining us.
Pleasure.
As always. Next week, I want to pass along to our viewers, we will be back here at Guarnieris live to bring you Rules of the Game.
and 3rd and long. And I'm going to cough here. Excuse me. So until next Wednesday, we'll be back here. So long, everybody.
You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station. Brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Hogways Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Audiology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Spees Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Guarnieris Pizzeria.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.